Hey boys, it's the 10 Guys One Pod podcast. It's your host, Dextric Michelle Beta, alongside Parker's got a circumcised Johnson. How we doing, buddy?
Pretty good. That was probably your most accurate take of the season.
It's funny. I practiced literally 2 seconds ago. So yeah, good. And also Daniel gave me that one. Any of you guys who have any Parker/something Johnsons and you want to send it my way and I'll see if it makes the cut, feel free. That person will get a shout out on the number one 10 Guys One Cup Fantasy Football podcast.
You buddy.
And we got a good one for you guys today. We're excited. We've been excited. We got a very special guest, Charlie Yates, all the way from somewhere in Northern California. I believe they make wine over there. How are we doing, Charlie?
What's up, guys?
So we're going to go into our favorite segment of every podcast, Next Gen Stats, with our lovely Parker Johnson.
Parker's Fun Fact Time, hashtag Next Gen Stats is the name of this segment, actually.
Remix.
All right. So this is something we actually talked about kind of recently. This is actually like a half fun fact. Gabe has spent a total of 16 fab on Jordy Nelson over the course of 2 editions and still dropped him on Sunday or before Sunday and missed out on a 15-point game.
Guess who has Jordy Nelson now for 17 fab?
It's you, Dex. Charlie, did you put a bid on that?
I did not put a bid on Jordy Nelson, actually. I thought about it, but yeah, I didn't put a bid on him.
You're already set up on wide receivers, I see. Okay, so for the actual next gen stat time, I actually found like one fucking thing that is going to comprise the majority of my stats. I got through week 4, every team's points scored compared to the average and the percentage of that at each position. So, for example, the Rams have the most fantasy football points scored compared to the average at 133% total. So let's move to our first fact. This is a question for the both of you. Who's the worst team at producing fantasy football points?
The worst team at producing fantasy football points.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. What do you got, Dex?
I was going to say this Titans.
Okay.
Because I know they had a 9-6 win over the Jaguars, but the Jaguars had like a 36-14 win over the Patriots. So they put up some big numbers a couple weeks.
That's fucking wrong, by the way. Charlie, you got any takes?
I was thinking maybe the Colts. I don't know. I don't think any of their games have been very high
Colts
scoring.
are like very middle of the pack, actually. Yeah, they're actually 101% of the league average. So the winner or loser in this case is the Arizona Cardinals at 50% the league average.
That was my second guess.
I was gonna say I was like, is it the Broncos? Please don't be the Broncos. I'm in so much pain right now. I can't deal with another Broncos fucking loss in my life.
No, Broncos are where are the Broncos? They're like 9 or 10 up. They have 90% the league average. Cardinals are worst in class at kicker, quarterback, and wide receiver. Just the absolute lowest points scored at all those positions. Very depressing year.
I'm not surprised. I have, obviously, as you guys know, Larry Fitzgerald, and he's been atrocious through 4 weeks. And I know they switched quarterbacks after, I believe, week 2. Mm-hmm. And it's not really helping him out.
There's nothing in the world that makes me more upset than knowing that I told Gabe he was stupid and for that trade, and he is right now. There's literally like Dex. I'm like almost Shawshank. There we go. Words redemption. Where I'm like in my fucking room hanging myself because I know fucking Gabe's right and I'm wrong, and it hurts, boys, because I've been wrong a lot this year.
How do you feel about that trade, Charlie?
Well, I mean, at the beginning of the season, it's hard to tell, what's going to happen with, players, especially somebody like Larry Fitzgerald, who typically, I mean, regardless of matchups and quarterbacks, he's always put up pretty, solid numbers. I had Will Fuller last year, actually, and as soon as Watson got hurt, he was pretty much useless. I mean, his numbers dropped to almost nothing. So I thought, with him being kind of dependent on Deshaun Watson, and he's kind of boomer bust. That switching to Larry Fitzgerald would be, I guess, a safer option, but turns out clearly the Cardinals are suffering this year. So
There's such a dumpster fire.
and in trades usually it rarely ever works out to where both teams get what they were asking for. Somebody's always got to get the brick, and unfortunately this year so far I've gotten the brick, but it hasn't stopped me from winning 3 games. So here's to hoping he.
God damn it! You played fucking Mike. Jesus fucking Christ. Also, Charlie, I don't want Parker to remind me. I want you to remind me later when we talk about last week's matchups. Parker and Miller's trade.
Okay.
All right.
Not you. I said not you, Parker.
I'm just saying. Maybe I'll remind Charlie to remind you. It might happen.
There we go. Round circle.
Helping people.
Let's see. The next step. All right. These ones aren't even questions. The Buccaneers are the. Wait. Hold on. All right. So yeah, the Buccaneers are the 3rd best at producing fantasy points, but the worst in the league at producing running back points.
Ooh, that's
I'm not really surprised.
Who do you know who's behind them at that, or do you just have their stats?
Who's behind them at
like
what?
At the highest fantasy, lowest running back ratio? If not, no big. I'm just trying to think what running backs are garbage, and all I could think about was the Lions.
I was going to say that
they have the worst running backs, hands down, for fantasy production as a whole. So they have 36%, which is the league loss in percent scored at running back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, I mean, you got Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones have both been terrible.
Yeah, not producing at all. The 2 teams ahead of them in performance is the Rams and the Chiefs, by the way, and like in all position scoring. Final little fun fact: the Bears DST outperforms the league average by 206%. Only the Jets, Browns, and the Rams are above like 115%. And the Dolphins.
Literally blows my mind how stupid John Gruden is. Like the things he's said, like after they lost to the Broncos, did you hear what he told the media? We have to get more pressure on the quarterback. You just traded arguably the number 1 defensive player in the league, at least the number 1 defensive rusher besides Von Miller. And he's just like, yeah, we need to get more pressure on the quarterback. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You got rid of Khalil Mack, who's just unreal.
It just goes to show you, why you don't draft a defense in like the 7th round, because the previous year's performer is probably not going to be the top performer again. I mean, it rarely ever happens.
Do you know who that was, out of curiosity? Was it the Ravens?
Yes, last year.
No, last year it was the Jaguars.
Oh yeah, you're right. And there's Jaguars, Eagles, Ravens. Those were like the top 3. And this year, Jaguars might still be up there as top 3, but I know the Ravens and the Eagles aren't. Eagles have been getting crushed.
Jags are under the median. Charlie, I saw you really wanted the Ravens defense back.
Yeah, that was a horrible mistake dropping them last week for the Browns. I had my 2nd week out of 4 with a defense going negative, so that one hurt. But
that sucks. You dropped 9 fab to get them back this morning.
I did, which I looked back at all the other transactions, and I think Dex, you actually paid $8 for a defense, and I don't remember what Parker paid for Chicago.
I paid like 6 for the Bears or something like that.
Yeah, so I figured I just wanted to make sure I snagged him back up. I was like, for an extra $1 or 2, it's worth me not having the heartache.
Yeah,
dude. And if they're good, you're gonna save that much not streaming defenses all year, anyways. Like, why not pay up?
I just thought about how much fab I had left over last year, going like when the season was done, and I was like, holy shit! Like, all right, let's not, because there's gonna be times where it's like, all right, there's no one to pick up right now. So
how much did you end with?
I think I had like 29, and that was with me like at the very end just bidding like I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I also didn't make the playoffs, so there's that.
Yeah, I remember that. Don't you worry.
Me too.
All right, that's the end of Parker's fun fact
No!
time. Hashtag next gen stats.
Give us more
That's it?
stats. Give us
You want more stats? I could literally.
I'm just talking
I
shit
literally
'cause
just like stuff.
You know
on
what
Twitter.
I have to do next. You know what I have to do next. That's why I'm saying
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, fuck the stats. We're done with that. It's Dex's fun ice time. Hashtag go Dex go.
all right. I gotta open up Snapchat.
Are you doing with the headphones on this time?
Yeah, and I
Last time you took them off and I couldn't directly talk shit to you while
Oh,
you were
that's
drinking
better.
an ice.
Okay, this is gonna be hard. Get ready and narrate. Boys, I'm doing a podcast and about to drink this behemoth of a fucking thing, and I can't open it. Parker, I get what you were saying.
Really? Oh my god, they're twist off?
Yeah,
That
they're
would've made
twist
my
off,
video
you
so much better.
jackass. I know. I
know
just
why.
thought you wanted to show us your balls. All right,
It's been
I'm
so
back.
long since I've been iced.
32 ounces of nice. Dex keeping Smirnoff alive. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
I like how long it took you to hype yourself up on that one. If I could make you spit out this ice as you chug it, that'd be the greatest thing in the world. All right, so we're looking at a grape ice today.
Yeah,
Dex
bold
is taking
choice.
his break. Yeah, bold choice on the grape. He must have really liked that the first time. Must be much better than cherry, I'll tell you what.
I wonder if he's developed a favorite flavor yet.
That's a good question. I know he hates screwdriver. I think 32 of screwdriver would be.
All right, I got
That sounds
more
worse.
coming.
I like screwdriver for the small ones, but like a full screw, like 32 ounce would be so shitty.
All right,
It just
so
sounds so heavy.
I'd like to
Yeah.
finish that ice, boys. That sucked. It was grape. I do grape because it's the easiest for me to go down. It reminds me of that scissor up, so I think that I'm hanging out a little wheezy when I do it. Also, it should be noted, our boy Charlie sipping whiskey on this podcast. Lovely Parker's got that Corona and lime, while bitch boy Dex, literally Dr. Champ's bitch, just drank a grape Smirnoff. Welcome to 10 Guys, 1 Pod.
Dude, I can hear the adrenaline still in your veins from hyping yourself up beforehand. I can hear it.
It's
Yeah,
so
you got a lot
hard.
of energy.
I wanted to finish it in one, but like I'm getting like Parker where like that burping and farting and all that shit, like it just builds up so fast that it's like it's not that I can't, it's that I might throw up.
You're breaking down.
Yeah.
How many more ices do you have by Thursday game time?
Well, I have a small one that I'm gonna do tonight at the end of this, and then I have one more large one that I'll do tomorrow before the game.
You should do them all tonight.
There's no way I will actually throw up. All right. Now this hasn't been fun. Let's move on. Our boy Charlie. So he messaged me and he was like, "Hey, I have a great idea for the podcast." And I was like, "Oh, let me read." Read it. I was like, "Fucking A, Charlie. I love that. Every part of that is amazing. You're on for that. We're going to have a segment with you on this. You came up with this. You deserve all the glory." So Charlie's idea was a 5-on-5 flag football team. So I don't know if you guys ever played this. I did in high school on off season. It's just like fun. So you have a quarterback, a running back, a tight end, a wide receiver, and a center. And now you can line them up however you want. They don't have to be in that formation. You can have tight end out and slot, running back. Like you get what I'm saying. And the centers snap the quarterback, and they can also go on a route. Now defense are linebacker, free safety, corner, another corner, and a defensive lineman. So pretty much it's just a flag football 5-on-5. It's fun. If you guys ever find a league to do it, do it. So what we're gonna do is each of us have come up with our league. You can only play one position. You can't play both sides. Where would we put each person?
Yeah, so I don't know if any of you guys have actually played football before. I know Dex, you have. But
Yes, you're saying that you don't know if I played football, is what you just said.
Yeah.
I think he's talking to the group.
So it's
Talking to the
essentially
league, that's
a
right.
summer passing league where you have either like a 7-on-7 or like a
Okay.
5-on-5. So in this case, we did 5-on-5 with a permanent team. So you can only play one position basically. You can't switch to defense unless I guess
Right.
injury or whatever.
I will have you guys know that freshman year in high school, when I played tackle football, we had to play 7-on-7 because we didn't have enough people to roster a whole team. So I'm highly familiar with the meta of low player count football.
Real quick, we have Miller played. I believe he got hurt. Brad and Parker played, Charlie and myself played, and so half of the league has played football. Daniel will say he played, but that motherfucker played like half a season his sophomore year. Like, oh, get the fuck out of here. Oh, I hate him.
Typical Daniel.
Right?
Typical.
All State,
Brad
California.
played.
Yeah, I said Brad. 5. You guys
Okay.
went to North Point?
Yep.
All right, so who's going first?
Should we do it by position or someone's entire like take? Or maybe we should talk about meta first. Like what swayed your guys' decisions? What do you guys
All
think
right,
about starting
I'll start
with
that so you guys can kind of see how I did that because that's what I set it up.
Okay.
So when Charlie came to me with this and I started figuring out who was where, the first thing I did was all right, since you can't play both sides, it's going to be very difficult to have all the talent on one side. You guys will realize who I think is talented in this and who is not. So fuck all you.
Yeah.
So I split everyone up. So I was like, all right, this person is with this person. The easiest one for me to say is Daniel and myself. Body type, speed. He's definitely faster. I'm quicker off the line.
You guys are both corners, right?
Yes. Hit me on the deep route, bro. So clearly that's how I set it up. So then I did Charlie, Mike, Parker, Brad, Paul, Gabe, Miller, Dustin.
Wait.
Yes.
For what?
So you guys cannot be on the same side. One's offense, one's defense.
Oh, so you just split the talent right down the middle?
So that's how I have it right now is like I split it down to make it as even as possible. And also my goal for my team that I'm making is we are not going to stop you every time, but we're going to score a lot. So that's kind of how I set it up. Should I go into who I have where, or do you guys have something to say?
Well, Charlie, what was what influenced your decisions?
So it's funny that you said body types because I literally have body types written down and underlined on my sheet here. So I pretty much essentially did the same thing, and it's possible we have pretty similar lineups. I went for a balanced approach to not stacking all of the talent on offense or defense. I also have an alternate for a shutdown D because I know Dex likes that smash mouth football.
Yeah, boy.
So I can go into that one if you guys want to once we're all done.
Yes.
I'm actually curious before I talk about my meta. What categories of body type are there?
I would say you got like your corners,
tanks?
yeah, like your corners, the smaller guys, running backs, and I would say probably maybe wide receivers, and then you got like tight end and linemen. Quarterback's kind of, I guess, same as safety almost.
Got it. Okay, so what I did is I actually my meta is mostly the shutdown defense. I went pretty strong on defense. I figure we can get cheeky on offense, but at least the defense we're gonna have a blast. Also, I'm on the defense, so I figured that would be the most fun as well.
There you go.
I think you can get away with some shit in flag football on offense, so I kind of let that one we'll figure it out throughout the season.
You mean like some hook and ladder type stuff?
It hurts.
That's right.
Look, I don't blame him. I don't blame you, Sutton.
All right. Who goes first?
All right, I'll go. All right, so I'm going to start with offense. I put Charlie as our quarterback. So I have Charlie and Mike lined up together. The reason I have Charlie is he's the fastest in our league. My goal is I'm going to score more than you. I'm not going to stop you. I'm going to score more than you. So Charlie's going to be a running quarterback. He's going to scramble a lot. Conditioning is going to be key. So there's going to be a lot of times where he's running 10, 15 yards and no one else is getting it. I got myself
every time.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Charlie.
Wait, what are the rules on quarterback scrambling and 5-man flag football?
So it's still even. Like there's a linebacker who will be ghosting him or following him. So it depends how you run your defense, which I talk later about how I run my defense. So you can.
I'm gonna have to talk to the league officiating on that, and that seems a little unbalanced.
I think you're gonna have some sort of pass rush too. I think they do probably account maybe, so there's still gonna be that aspect to it. Somebody that's shadowing the quarterback.
5 Mississippi.
It's usually 3 and things like that. But also that's why I have myself as center. I played center sophomore year, and then in the R5 and 5 league, I was the center. and I was actually the MVP because I was faster than all the other linemen. So I had like 3 touchdowns a game. So
Hype.
yeah, I was like, yeah, I almost convinced the coaches to make me the fullback, but they're like, no, we need a left tackle. Blah, fuck you guys. We won 3 games. Like I could have actually had fun and touched the ball. Instead, I had to block defensive ends that were faster than me. I'm not salty.
A quick raise of hands. Does anybody not have Dex at center?
Nope.
Nobody? Okay, cool. Just checking.
I honestly don't know who
next?
else would have been it. Like that's fair. All right, so this
I'll have you know, I actually did play center.
I
in high
know,
school.
but that's a waste of.
It is a waste.
Where else would you
It's a
put Dex
waste.
then?
God-given
So if
talent.
it was tackle football, it changes everything, which we talked about, boys. But I
Yeah.
was like,
We
could
did.
you imagine Paul and Mike getting tackled? Fuck, we would lose half our team in the first game.
Snapped in half.
So yeah, we took out tackle and we were going flag. So now I'm going to tight end. It's Dustin, just because I did not know where to put Dustin. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Dustin's wrists. They're daintier than Amber's. Honestly, I think when Charlie throws him the ball, it might break his hands and his wrists. So Dustin's more of there just a distraction. We might have him every time just run a streak, and we'll have other just to get someone out of there. Just because I don't know what else is gonna be.
Just clear your man,
I
Dustin.
like it.
Yeah. And then running back, it was between Parker and Brad. I went Parker at running back, and you're not gonna like the reason, Parker. I think
fine. I think you made the right choice
I
regardless.
think Brad's got a little bit more speed than you. And so that's important on defense because it's easier to run a route and know where you're going. On the defense, you have to be reactive to what's happening on, and you have to close that gap. So yeah, you might be running with him, but if he doesn't out, all of a sudden he's going the opposite direction that you weren't ready for. So I think Brad will be better at closing that gap a little bit better. Also, I think Brad has better hips than you.
Yo, let me drop you some true life stats from 8th grade flag football. State champs, by the way. North Point Preparatory. You can look it up. I had literally 6 kickoff return touchdowns on the year because you can't fucking grab my flag in flag football. I swear to God, I have the best hips in the
Real quick,
world.
I went to high school or middle school in Arizona. I went to a very ghetto school with almost all black and Hispanic guys who are fast as fuck. We did not have flag football at our school. That's why, because Parker played all the white schools and didn't have the actual athletes who then went on to play for Apollo and Washington.
I'm just saying, I'm also white. It's a balanced playing field. I can spin on these white people.
All right, so I got Parker at running back. Now I got Paul as our wide receiver. He's not as tall as I'd like, but he's got a longer wingspan than I think all of us realize. And Paul watches a lot of football, so he knows route running. He's a big Larry Fitz guy, so I think that's important. So I think his wingspan will help us on a lot of those like third down, first down plays that we're going to need from him. So that's my offense. Let's hear from Charlie.
So my team's actually pretty similar to yours. I have 2 positions that are the same, and I had the same decision-making process for running back and linebacker with Brad and Parker, but I actually went Brad at running back. So Dustin's at tight end, like you said. I kind of just didn't know where to put him. It was more of like a where can he do the least damage type scenario. So I got Dustin at tight end. Dex is my center. We've killed that bird.
It's dead.
So
Fuck you.
Brad's at running back. Like I said before, I went based on body types, and Brad and Parker are pretty similar, and I just thought Brad might have, like you said, a little bit of speed on Parker. So I put.
Have you seen Brad's little donkey calves?
Donkey calves is the meanest, funniest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, bitch boy and his donkey calves. Ever heard of leg day? Jesus Christ.
It's hard to picture you guys in comparison, with your body, what are the height differences and weight differences. It's hard to remember that. So that was part of the challenge of this whole thing.
It's the hardest part.
Wait, then
So
why am I the center for everyone? I don't get it. That was a joke. Let's laugh. Also,
all right, so I actually have Mike at quarterback. I put him there because I think he'll be smart with the ball. He's also a little bit taller than I am. I don't know about arm strength per se, but we can always run an offense that'll be more successful with a guy that can't like bomb it down the field. So I put
Yeah.
him there. I think just because of his safety with the ball and his height. So at wide
Yeah.
receiver, I put myself. We've all got a pretty good idea of my hands abilities from our kickball experience with catching fastballs from JT every play. So I got
Yeah.
JT was
hands,
in this
and
team.
as long as my hamstring holds up, I think I'll be a deep threat. If Mike can get it there, that's the only question. I might be stuck running crossing routes the whole game, but so those are my five guys on offense.
So we have.
Your guys was almost exactly the same.
Well, I
wasn't
have
it?
I have Paul as wide receiver. I will say that Charlie, your defense is going to be horrible. Jesus fucking Christ. You guys, your team better score 70 points a game.
Well, that
Because-
was my goal. I mean, like you said,
Yeah.
we're not going to stop you every time, but we're going to put up numbers. We're going to be
See-
Kansas City Chiefs.
That's fair. And that was my hardest part, is like, what do I do with this? Because now that I'm thinking about it, your idea might be a little bit better, because there's always that hole in the defense. Fuck it, let's just make the whole defense a hole. Like, because that's how I won. I was the MVP of our league, because all the linemen were so unathletic, and I was the only guy who like wrestled too. So like I had that like still like just ability to run for a long time. So I had so many touchdowns. Yeah, there you go. That's the word. I fucking hate words. Honestly, I fucking hate them. They're the worst thing in the world. Fuck you, words. Also, Parker said he didn't like my blog that much today, and it kind of hurt my feelings, but we won't talk about that till later. All right, Parley, let's hear, or Parker, let's hear about Parley.
You just called me Parley.
Which one are you referring to?
God, I'm stupid.
I think that supersedes Brew Drees as the biggest fuck up on this podcast for sure.
Drink 32 ounces of nice. Leave me alone. All right.
Oh, nice. Dex.
I did that one on purpose.
Fair,
all right,
fair.
Parker, your turn.
Dex, if you start feeling like you're having a stroke, just start blinking really fast for us with one eye.
What are you supposed to smell? Toast?
Toast, yeah. Do you smell toast? Amber legitimately asked me that the other day.
Does she smell toast?
Yeah, she did smell toast, and she was right. Someone was cooking outside the grill.
Parker, what's your offense?
Okay, so mine's actually. Oh man, I'm regretting so many. I don't want to go last on offense. I want to go first.
We'll do it a snake draft. You go first on offense.
I'm already ripe with indecision. Okay. Okay, so center is obviously Dex. Big, strong dude with the lineman background. For QB, I actually went with Mike also. I don't know if he can toss, but everything about Mike screams quarterback to me, and I want to defend him to the death, because he's got that fatherly aura that Brett Favre and other great quarterbacks possess. So I assume that he was just a naturally good fit for that. My tight end was also Dustin, because they're gonna ignore him until he can get little dump offs. I'm pretty sure he can take little dump offs if they stop covering him. So he's gonna always at least be taking up one of their dudes. Wide receiver is Paul. I didn't expect anybody else to have that decision, but I did. He's obviously not super tall, and in theory, he's not super fast, but I think he's really good at talking shit, and we'll probably get some personal fouls and a lot of pass interference flags from pissing the corners off. So that's how we're going to get a lot of our yardage. Finally, this is the hardest part for me, because I feel regretful for making this decision. I have Daniel at running back. And maybe this is reminiscent. Yeah, that got you to look up from your phone, didn't it?
I was bumbling. Thank you very much. Also,
how's it going for you?
I worked hard on
this. I don't hate that idea of having Daniel and me in there, and then you and Brad on defense.
I think Daniel has shockingly good hips, and he's like honestly, he's going to be decent at lowering his shoulder and keeping his
You
hips away
don't
from
lower
people
your
trying to grab
shoulder
the
in flag
flag.
football. Yeah.
If you don't want their hands to come near your flag, you
I know what
do.
he's saying. He's good
Why wouldn't
at,
you?
at slithering almost.
Fucking pussy ass Daniel.
Yeah, he's a very slithery motherfucker. Great
That's a good
running back.
description. Slithery.
I also really wanted to be running back. So I was kind of like a sub for running back, I guess, even though we don't get subs, but that was a tough decision for me. We had a lot more similarities than I thought.
All right, Parker. I liked it. I loved it. Now let's hear your defense, since we don't want you to feel bad about this.
Okay. So for defensive lineman, I actually put myself. This was something that I actually played in flag football and regular football. I freaking love the position, by the way, almost as much as I loved my few snaps at running back. If there's no pads, dude, I could get around anybody back in the day. So I think I'd put a lot of pressure there. Linebacker, this is another hard one. Linebacker, I actually have Andrew because I kind of just need him to fill holes, and I expect him to be able to do that. I don't need him to go very far, and I think he'll be just fine at only plodding a few feet. For safety, I have Bradley. Even though I'd prefer him at linebacker, I think safety would be a strong position for him. And my corners are Charlie and Gabe, obviously playing with super strong, tall corners, get a lot of interceptions, hopefully. Yeah, I went with a strong defense strategy.
Yeah, that's actually pretty funny because the last time I played flag football was a couple years ago when I was in San Diego. I joined in with my buddies, and they already had their offense set up, so they asked me if I wanted to play corner, and I ended up being like a shutdown corner. I had like 2 picks in the game, and surprisingly, I did better on defense than I did on offense. So I'm totally in agreement. That was another decision that I had to make. That I thought, do I put myself a wide receiver or a shutdown corner? It was a tough call for me too.
Yeah, you would have been my wide receiver if I didn't decide that Paul could get a lot of personal flags.
Fair enough.
Personal flaggles. What about you, Dex?
So I went a little bit different. So I have Daniel as so also I'm playing a different defense than Parker. Parker's rushing his defensive lineman. I am not. I'm playing a zone defense. I'm keeping the quarterback behind the line, not letting him run. We're gonna have all 5 guys covering someone. So the way I have it is Daniel's going to be the defensive lineman, so he's going to be covering the center. So his goal is center on a route. If center stays in, watch the quarterback and shadow him. So it's a difficult job, but Daniel's also, he's faster than me. Like I kind of had how I had Brad and Parker, where Parker, I believe, or Brad's faster than Parker. And that's very important on defense. You need that speed to close the gap. I have Brad at linebacker, as I mentioned. Now, corner, I have Miller and Gabe, and I have Mike at safety. The way I'm going to do it is Miller's going to cover the tight end. I know it's corner, but that's the name I gave him. He's covering the tight end. Miller, no offense, but you sometimes run like a duck. And so we're going to have you covering the tight end. I don't like, if you had to cover Charlie, he would dust you every time. I think Gabe will have all right, no one's going to cover Charlie. I get it, but Gabe will have a little bit better chance.
He'd have a shot.
He'd have a shot. But my end all be all to keep us in the game on defense is Mike. Mike's going to be playing safety, a zone safety. He's going to be our center fielder. Mike's job is to make sure no one gets behind him. Mike's job is to watch the quarterback's eyes. So Mike is going to start in center. Also, as you all should know, the field's smaller than tackle, regular 11 on 11 field, so it's a little bit easier. So Mike is tall, he's fast, and he's got those long arms and can jump pretty high. So
I've literally never seen Mike run.
I played soccer with Mike. He's
true.
fast.
You were on the kickball team.
Oh yeah, you were. So the problem with Mike in him saying kickball is Mike's a gazelle runner esque. Like
that's true.
If you're running 10 yards, I bet I beat him. I bet you beat him. Bet Daniel beats him just off that get off. But if we're running 100 yards, 40 yards, Mike's going to beat all of us but Charlie. So Mike is fast. He is very fast. It's just that longer distance. That's why he was good at soccer. Like you have to have that long distance speed. So my goal is Mike to have a couple picks a game. We're gonna they're gonna score 35. We're gonna score 50. That's my goal for my team.
I just can't imagine Mike cutting without little bolts and springs busting out of his knees at every turn.
Well, that's the thing. At safety, you don't really need to have a lot of sideways cutting ability. I mean, it's mostly turning your hips and running. I mean, whether you're turning, you're like Dex said, you're watching the quarterback, so you're turning in the direction that his eyes are moving. So it's really not a lot of cutting. It's more of your your ability to turn and run on a dime. So I could see Mike being capable at that.
And that's what worries me too. Now that I think about, I like Charlie and your guys' idea of having Charlie at wide receiver, Mike at quarterback, because you're going to score a ton more. And it's just so hard with our group of unathletic fucks. It's this is not easy, guys. Charlie, your defense, you're last.
All right, my defense. So I actually have Gabe at free safety because I put Mike at quarterback. So like we were talking about earlier, the body types might Gabe's like Mike's alternate. So Gabe's at free safety. I think he'll do all right with reading quarterbacks and stuff. Like same with Mike. I think it's a toss up between who's faster, but I think Gabe will do a decent job at safety. So my two corners are actually Andrew and Paul. Basically same thing. They seem like they're the smaller of the two guys. Now they're probably going to get beat, but that's why we got Gabe over the top.
Probably a lot.
Yeah, this is
probably beat a lot.
Remember what I told you, Charlie? Your defense is gonna get a lot of points scored on it. Yeah, that's a lot. No offense, guys. I'm not talking shit about how your football skills are. I enjoyed this segment a lot. All right, I'm sorry, Charlie.
Okay.
Go on.
All right, so the two of them, I don't know. They're probably going to get beat a lot. So Gabe's job's going to be pretty difficult. So actually at linebacker, I've got Parker. It seems like we both have Brad and Parker at mirror images of each other, whether it's running back or linebacker. It's pretty obvious.
Basically the same.
Basically, yeah. And then my defensive lineman is Daniel. So pretty much what Dex said before, with the shadowing the center, and then if the center stays down, then just following the quarterback. So that I know that my defense is weak, but we got a strong O. So we're gonna be the Kansas City Chiefs and just hope that our defense can hold them off just enough.
I'm sad I just thought of this. So if you guys can't think of anything clever, we'll just skip. But what would be our team name?
Jesus.
Oh, God.
I don't even know.
The Alcoholics?
I can't.
There you go. Might as well.
Teamwork. I didn't draft my team like as intelligently as your guys's, but I will say that my team will definitely have the most fun.
I don't know how you.
We got a Russian defense, dude. We're gonna do defense. Is just gonna shit on them, and offense is a bunch of jolly people who are gonna have a good time.
So it's just they're gonna. All right, it's just our whole team's bad. Our whole team's so bad. Like
we have a few key pieces. We just gotta dump it off and hope for the best.
Yeah.
What would you guys say? So Charlie, you clearly don't give a shit about corners.
No, not a little.
You think that's the worst position?
Again, Charlie plans on having like 300 yards receiving and like 6 touchdowns because that's the only way this happens.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, it was all based on body types. I mean, at corners, always the smallest guy on the field. I mean, for the most part. Yeah. So
that was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. I appreciate that,
dude. I really need to run a 40 against Brad next time I'm in town because I want to settle this.
I don't think you think it's not going to go like you think, but yeah.
It's probably not going to go like I think. I have Sprant recently. I fucking know how
Spranter and Nixon.
Deep down in my core, I refuse to believe that Brad's faster than me, even though he probably is. I don't know. Maybe I'll just break his shoulder again if we do it.
I don't know why. I don't know if you guys do this, but like I always come up with the crazy scenarios in my head. And Brad and I were at the ASU game on Saturday, and I was like, they were doing like a race on the field between two fans, and I was like, what if Brad and I were in that? I was like, that'd suck. Brad would beat me. Honestly, if we were next to each other, lined up, about to run, I would throw him on the ground, flip him off, and run into the end zone and win that game. And I was like, I would either be everyone's favorite person or everyone would hate me, but it would be hilarious.
It's just like real life.
Don't race me, Brad. I'll fucking kill you.
It's just that was good, Charlie. Just
It's
like
just
real
like real
life.
life.
All right. So that was good. Charlie also had some other questions that were hilarious. I'm going to answer this one last because I think I'm funnier than both of you, and I think my answer will be the best. So that was funny. You walk into an antique store and break a lamp. Genie pops out, and he's like, yo, I will grant you something. You get to be 10% smarter or 10% more attractive. Which do you take? Parker, you're up.
This is a hard one because like 10% more attractive is not a quantity of attractive to be fucked with at all. That's regardless. I think I'm going to take smarter because I can get more attractive, but I can never take back all those years of football and intentionally just slamming my head into other people. I have no problem with my attractiveness. I think I could even improve it if I needed to. Smartness is the way to go. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go the same. I feel like if you have those extra smarts, you can actually, be more attractive just by being more intelligent. You can make more money, whatever it is, and I think Dex has got a grin on his face right now, and I think we're both a little more comfortable in our physical attractiveness.
But we live.
So
we
I've
live.
been trying so hard not to bust out laughing. Clearly, we see who guys are attractive. The fucking white skinned, blue eyed, blonde haired motherfuckers, where I got shit brown eyeballs and my fucking facial hair doesn't grow incorrectly and look like this. Like I somehow have my mom's nose but my dad's face. Like the worst of them. Like how the fuck did I get that? Whatever. So
You're like a Mr. Potato Head.
Yes, exactly. Honestly, I don't know how I've ever been late in my life, and I feel like that's like people should be like, oh, this guy fucks. Like, wow, congratulations. And the girls are like attractive as. Like, good for you, buddy. So I'm gonna be 10% more attractive. My reason is I'm not that smart, as you guys can all tell. I mix up words, shit like that. But I've done well for myself in life. Fuck, if I'm any smarter, I'm going to be the next Donald Trump, and I don't think we need another Donald Trump. So let's just make myself a little bit prettier, notch me up from that like hard 5, low 6 to a 7. I'm cool with a 7. I'll live with that. I'll find me an 8, 9 girl who just has daddy issues and is working down. So I'm definitely going to be more attractive.
You realize that like 10%
That's one thing.
of like 1 is still like 1.1,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I just said. I'm going from a hard 5, low 6 to a 7. So on the 10 scale, like everyone rates them on a 10 scale, that moves you up 1 point.
That's true.
That's called
What if I
fucking
had
math. See
Google?
why I don't need to be smarter? Because I'm fucking smart, Parker. You see how I did that in my head? That's percentages. Ask Mike and Charlie. They're engineers. They know about math.
Dex, you realize that I had to type it into Google because I didn't know. 5 times 10% is, I mean, not 5 times 10%, but 5 times 1.1 is 5.5.
So I was looking at
Not 6 or 7.
That's fair.
You're taking 10% of a 10.
100, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to take 10% of a 5, which is your 0.5.
I'm gonna say I'm a 10 in my heart, so I'm taking it from my heart.
Thank God there's someone who actually does math for a living on this podcast, or that would have gone over our heads.
Neither of us would have known that. That's fine.
And it's funny, when I thought of this question, Dex, it was mostly directed to you. I thought Parker and I would have a pretty easy time answering it, but I think you would have been the hardest at it.
I don't know how I'm supposed to take that at all. I'm going to jump back on Bumble real quick and tell them that my friends are being mean. Just joking. All right, so that wasn't as fun as I thought it'd be. I'm ugly, so let's move on. So another question Charlie had was, and this worked out perfect the way the games went this last week. Rams, Chiefs, Super Bowl. Who wins? Both of them are undefeated right now, and they can score a shit ton of points. Charlie, you go first.
All right, so I kind of went with my heart on this one a little bit. As you guys know, I have Mahomes, and I think if we're watching that game, it's going to be high volume passing. I mean, almost the entire way. Besides
Mhm.
Gurley, so it's going to be a toss up. I think between how well can Mahomes perform and how well can the Chiefs defense stop Gurley and the trio of Rams wide receivers. So I'm going Chiefs on this one just because I got my boy Mahomes, but it's definitely going to be an interesting game for sure.
Dex, you go
Okay,
next.
so I don't agree with Charlie, or I'm not choosing the Chiefs, but I don't disagree with Charlie. This is again coin flip. They score a lot. I'm taking the Rams. Defense is better than the Chiefs. As we just saw, the Denver Broncos kept them at 24 points, which which
Mhm.
was very low for them, who had been scoring 40 a game.
Yeah.
So in the Denver D overall is not better than the Rams defense. So I see the Rams keeping them in that 30 range. And as we saw them just play the Vikings, fucking smoke it. They have so much talent on the Rams team, on their wide receivers and running back. Again, they're both fucking good. Jesus Christ. But I'm going to go with the Rams. Wait, real quick,
Yeah,
not
I'm
to
with
interrupt
Dex.
you real quick.
What's up?
It should be noted, I read this stat today. I forgot who did it, who said it, but teams, the last team undefeated in the NFL, only two of them in the last 20 years have won the Super Bowl. It was the Colts when Peyton Manning was on there, and then some team in the 90s.
You're
So,
talking about through
so,
Hmm.
4 games.
huh?
You're talking
No,
about
no,
through
no, no.
four
Just
games.
being the last team undefeated.
Oh, the last
They
team
were
undefeated.
saying how the Rams and Chiefs are both undefeated, and someone put out the last team to actually win the Super Bowl was like the 2006 Colts, who were the last team undefeated. So just because it's not, it's your odds are lower that you're in there. I guess your odds don't fucking matter. Whatever. I just thought that was interesting.
Okay. Um. All right. Yeah, I'm with Dex on this one. And I'm actually going to drop a stat that was a contender for my Parker's Fun Fact Time hashtag Next Gen Stats. Um, the most explosive plays given up on the season, defined as rushing yards over 50, or rushing attempts over 15 yards and receptions over 20 yards, is the leader is the Chiefs at 30 explosive plays given up. And I think based on that alone, the Rams defense and offense is just in short going to just outperform the Chiefs. The Rams are going to get those explosive plays. The Chiefs defense is not something to brag or go home about. And I think the Rams take it home because defense is highly important.
Well, and I think it all kind of hinges upon whether Eric Berry comes back too, because he was
That's
kind of the
exactly what I was gonna say.
the linchpin of that defense. So if he comes back and they can actually have a leader again in him, then that's gonna make it an even tougher call, I think.
Well, and we talked about it too today. Where we talked about safety in our 5-on-5. Safety is one of the
Mm-hmm.
most important players on the team. And Eric Berry on the Chiefs. Eric Berry is one of the few guys who you can put on any slot and you can put him in the box and he'll stop a tight end or running back. So that's important. Eric Berry, probably top five safety in the league right now, and it sucks that he's out for the Chiefs because I hate the Chiefs, but I never want to see a player get hurt. That's how these guys get paid. Like, it makes the game more enjoyable. So you're right, Charlie, 100%. If Eric Berry's there, that changes a lot. I'd still go with the Rams, just the overall talent on their team. But yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. So we're gonna just keep Charlie on this. Charlie, you can't see what Parker and I can see, so just interject whenever you see fits. We're gonna go over last week's
Mm-hmm.
scores. And then week 4, so it's lucky for Dex, I got to play fucking Daniel, who was the second highest scorer, only 2 below the highest scorer. I did Parker Miller backward. Okay. Daniel had 157, Dex had 132. Daniel's Thursday night game with the Rams Vikings popped off. Fuck me. I did have Cooks who got me 22, which was nice. But Cooper fucking
Mm-hmm.
Cup, the White Knight, the Stallion, fuck, that guy went off.
Goff had a great game too, and Brad tripped over him on the waiver wire into 40
I'm not
fucking
going to say
points.
Brad tripped over him because Brad and I talked about it, and I hate that I'm about to admit this. I told Brad, if I was in your situation, I'm taking Matt Stafford just out of his resume. Just knowing what you're getting from Matt Stafford. Brad was like, cool. And then the next day I saw he picked up Goff. Matt Stafford's still a free agent, and then Goff fucking just threw his fucking arm away. Like, damn.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm 1-3 now. This is fucking fun. We all like fantasy.
Congrats.
I'm having a good time over here.
Oh, the points for and against are
They are.
probably
They
updated now,
are.
huh? Okay, so
Hold
let's
on.
take a look. Dex, do you know where you're at
I think only
on your points for?
points for. No, I don't. Fucking Parker, just say.
I'm actually prepared for this one.
Charlie, your points for are the lowest in the league.
I am the
Yeah.
lowest points in the league. That is correct.
And you're 3-1.
Also correct.
But so to be fair, all right, hold on. Before we get to in this, your points for is tied with Mike. You guys have 40.
It's not tied.
Oh
We
no,
do
no, no.
decimal
Mike's
scoring
lower than
next
you.
year.
Mike has the lowest. Parker was wrong.
Oh really?
So Charlie, you have 461.4. Mike has 462.
Pretty sure that
Now
462 is more than 461.
you're right. Fuck math.
So far,
It's
you
the ice.
were
Blame
right.
it on the
It's
ice.
the ice.
You did trick me if that
Yeah,
accounts for something, right?
Also, guys, I've learned this in working in a business environment. You say things like you know what you're talking about, and they will not question it unless you got a cunt like Charlie who's just sitting there.
Well, I
ready to
haven't
go.
written
All right,
down
Charlie.
on my sheet. I knew I was last in points 4, so I knew it was going to come up anyway.
All right, there's a very
Damn.
small group of people close together though, so this is nice that we have so many people. So we got Charlie at 461.4, Mike at 462.1. So Brad's at 486. He is 14 points higher than them on average. Let's not go the exact math. Then you got Dustin at 488. You got Gabe at 486.1. Me at 481.7. So there's a solid 6 people in our group who are bunched together very quickly.
It's like the under 490 crew.
Well, and we're all people who hit who had a 90-ish game.
Yeah.
And then who's number one? Who's number one? The guy who is 2-2 right now, Parker Johnson, 572 points, over 100 points more than Parker and Mike.
I forgot that when I spoiled it on the chat that I wanted to talk about on the podcast, but I have either scored the most points in the league or lost to someone that scored within the top 3. Top 2, I think, maybe 3. Well, I don't fucking know.
So
sucks balls, man.
I've also had either they scored the most or the second most every week, except the one I beat Miller in. My one win.
Yeah. I liked your your Bizarro World projection where we didn't change the schedule and we were both 3-1.
Yes,
That would have been nice.
I'm so mad at you for Parker was the advocate of like, we want change, make America great again. Let's change the schedule. Fuck you, Parker. I'd be 3-1 right now. This is all
and that's
your
why
fault.
you gave me the hardest strength of schedule.
I did not give you the. It was fucking random. I put it in a fucking Excel sheet and I hit enter and it jumbled everything around.
So even though I have the lowest points 4, I'd still be 3-1 though if we hadn't changed the schedule, right?
Yeah. No, I had you at 1-3.
No, I think you had me at 3-1.
Well, we're just gonna agree to disagree, Charlie, with your
Run the
4-6
numbers.
Run the
1
numbers.
point. Actually, you might have been at 3-1, but I'm not gonna search through Slack. But it would be a whole different world right now. This is one thing that does scare me. Let's get back to each matchup. I am now fighting for playoffs with scoring a decent amount of points. One bad week. But here we go. Next fucking thing. I mixed up Parker and Miller's on this. Parker had 159, the most points in the league, his second week doing that, and Miller had 145, which is great. That I feel your pain, Miller. I know scoring that much and still losing, that fucking sucks. Parker did
Dude,
that
he
to
came
me.
out of Thursday with like 40, 50 points or something like that. It was pretty terrifying, honestly.
When did you give up? When were you like, I'm not gonna win? Was it Thursday after the game where you like, I'm gonna take this one as a loss? Or did
For
you
me,
have faith?
no. Well, I knew I was gonna. I did win, first of all, so I never actually gave up.
I know, but I
I
also know how cynical you can be, and you're just like, fuck me.
No, dude, I'm turning over a new leaf this season. I read a word of advice on the internet somewhere that once the first game starts, you set your lineup, so just sit back and enjoy some football. And I'm fucking trying this year because last year I burnt out by like week 8 of giving a shit about fantasy, and it hurt my playoff chances quite a bit. So
Parker
this year I'm gonna try
on
to take
r
some
slash
easier.
uplifting, as we can all tell. So what I wanted Charlie to remind me that I just reminded myself, you and Miller made a trade this week.
I did,
Who
yes.
week one? This week? Who won that trade between you two?
He definitely won, but he didn't get the win, so does it really matter?
It does.
Marshawn Lynch did score more than Jarvis Landry,
Mm-hmm.
but Jarvis Landry's was at least top 10 in targets this on the week. So I don't take that as a loss, even though he didn't produce.
Oh, God, it doesn't tell me how many targets he had. I wanted to be like, no.
I think it was 11.
If he had 11 targets and caught 4 balls, that's scary.
That is kind of scary. They were playing
true.
on dirt.
Yeah, I fucked the Raiders, the piece of shit ass fucking team. I picked them to win, but I wanted the Browns to beat them. I love Baker Mayfield. He's
Hey, I picked the Browns to win too, and their
Yeah.
All right,
defense shit the bed.
I don't. This year fucks with me so much. I don't know who's good. I don't know who's not. The fucking Browns
Dude.
put the Saints in check, but the fucking Raiders pull out their dick and deep throat them like we're Sasha Grey. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I actually don't understand why it's so hard to get targets on this targets for a player on ESPN. It's like fucking impossible. I hate it.
Actually, I was reading about it. So they did it because fuck Parker, and they just had their middle finger up towards you because they knew it would trigger you.
I didn't see that one coming. I do admit.
Good. All right, next game, the fucking game of the week, Charlie versus Mike.
Wait, hold on. Would you guys agree that? Well, how do you guys feel about that trade? Because nobody's talked about it whatsoever.
It was the
and
fairest,
I've almost regretted it almost a little bit since.
It was the fairest trade out there, and the way I came up with it is Miller has the better floor.
Yeah,
Parker
it was
has
almost
the better
a sideways trade. When I saw it go through, I didn't really think it was going to make much of a difference. I mean, the two of those guys, I don't think you could pick week to week, maybe based on matchups, who's going to have the better score, but it's almost a toss up.
Yeah.
I really wanted to. The biggest thing for me was Jarvis Landry riding out that new quarterback, man. Like there's
Baker touchdown maker.
There's some upside there. He's doing great
Fuck,
too. Like
him.
he did have a sexy fucking toss to Jarvis. They actually had 2 end zone connections, and one of them was called back. But the second one was beautiful as well.
I called out a Browns fan this week who was bitching about Maker and all the turnovers he had. I said, you have Baker Mayfield. I was like, I need you. This is why you guys fucking suck, because you turn so fast on your quarterbacks and your players. Let him feel it out. Let him get this going. He went from Oklahoma to the NFL. That's a fucking big jump. And also you need to understand, Brett Favre is one of the top touchdown scorers in the NFL all time. He's also number 1 for interceptions. He won a Super Bowl. He took them to another Super Bowl. They were always in the playoffs. You have to ride that talent. Baker Mayfield's a guy that you're going to get, and you have to take the good with the bad, because there are going to be bad games. There are going to be bad games where he throws 3 interceptions, and next week he's going to put up 55 points. Just let Baker be Baker. He's got the swag. He's not someone who's going to hold it on his shoulder all the time.
Fire those guns.
I fucking love that kid. Every part of him. All right, back to
Dude, that was a next gen stat, by the way. That was impressive. I didn't know he had the most interceptions.
Oh yeah, well, fuck, Brett. Never mind. Let's go, Charlie. Mike, the game of the week, the fucking 97-92. Charlie, Monday night, pulling it out of his fucking ass. Charlie, how scared were you all Monday?
This is the second week in a row that's happened to me. I came back last week to beat Daniel in the second half, actually in the fourth quarter of the game, with Mike Evans. Mike Evans touchdown, literally last minute. And both of these 2 weeks, I've been pacing Monday night, just hoping. And the first half of that game was scary, because those Broncos the D linemen were holding Mahomes to. I mean, he had the 1 rushing touchdown, but he was not passing like he normally is. And I was nervous. I was nervous for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I
Dude.
just want the Broncos to win. Fuck. Like okay.
That game must have really sucked for Mike too, because like Mahomes just kept like getting these bombs and then it would flag and just pull it back, and so Mike has a little bit of a chance. And like, dude, there's literally nothing worse than on Monday night hoping that you got it, but knowing the other guy's quarterback is playing and watching him slowly rack up like 20, 25 points and just slowly overtaking your team. It's such a shit feeling.
It's like
Sucks for Mike.
It's like a Mortal Kombat, and you get the finish him, and you just stand there, and like he slowly just falls over by himself because you didn't do it in time. That was Mike's team, just sitting there at 92 points, slowly swaying back and forth till he finally fell over because Charlie's bitch ass team wasn't gonna do the finisher. They were just the last one standing.
Hey, a win's a win, right? I was excited this weekend because I actually didn't have anybody playing on Monday, and I was like, okay, finally a week that I will know on Sunday night whether
I
I'll.
was like, I'm not gonna be stressed. I'm not gonna be stressed.
And then I went and swapped for the Saints kicker, so now I have my kicker left to play, and I'm really hoping that he's either blown me out or I'm ahead, so I don't have to do this. I gotta wait for my kicker to score me 7 points type of thing and be sweating on Monday again.
Yeah, and that sucks because Brad will also be done, and the kicker you have has put up 6-point games and 16-point games. So like you're in a very like if that's a close game, you're like, fuck, what is my kicker gonna get me this week? Because that makes you very close in that.
I swear I've taken months off my life just in the last 2 weeks watching these Monday night games.
Hey, if anyone want to understand how shitty this is, go to www.10guys1blog.com and read about how much pain this causes us, or Dex at least. All right, next game, Dustin versus Gabe, the fucking 3-1 Gabe, putting up 136 points to Dustin's 128.
This is also a game where like Dustin had 3 players in on Monday and like his team just couldn't put it together. He had
Royce Freeman,
and then 2 players on KC, Tyreek and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt actually had a game he hasn't had one in a while, honestly.
Tyreek
Yeah.
was held pretty in check.
He was.
But Gabe's team, the fucking Kareem Hunt, that's what he should change his, or not Kareem Hunt, fucking Alvin Kamara. Did you guys know Alvin Kamara in 20 games, he's the first player to ever do this. So his first 20 games, he has 1,000 receiving yards and 1,000 rushing yards.
I did see that.
That is fucking unreal.
Oh man, I'm so weary of like continuing to just like rattle off half remembered stats. So I'm gonna look at his stats real quick.
Okay, while we're talking about
All right,
that,
never mind.
do you guys think that Alvin Kamara keeps this up with who's the guy coming back? Ingram coming back. How is this going to work? Because my brother always asks me fantasy advice, and he has Ingram on his bench, and he was like, "Do I start Ingram or Royce Freeman?" And I was like, I honestly don't know what to fucking say.
I personally wouldn't start Ingram until you see something, but it'll probably be next week when you start him is how I feel it's going to be, but I wouldn't do it till then.
Because you ride that fucking horse till it bucks you, and right now Gabe is fucking on the stallion.
Yeah, last year actually, I read a stat that Kamara was pretty much putting up the same numbers that he is now, but he was doing it in a timeshare with Ingram, so he was getting fewer carries and still putting up the numbers. So I don't know that Ingram coming back really hinders Kamara all that much. I mean, maybe 10% production less because he's missing some of those handoffs, but it all depends on how Ingram does, how in shape he is after 4 weeks off, and how much pep he's got in his step.
Is Ingram out for PEDs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, Charlie just said Hindered. Did you guys listen to the band Hinder in high school?
Yeah,
I did.
I fucking love that song. Why are you calling me so late? God, that's good. Hit that note just right.
Was it Hinder or Seether that had the song "Fuck Me Like You Hate Me"?
That was Seether.
I don't know who's
that was Seether.
Yeah.
I don't know why
I don't want to get into
such
your
similar
guys'
names.
metal ass bitch ass shit.
Charlie, do you want to talk about music for the next hour?
No, no one gives a fuck. I just might as well go shoot myself. All right,
Okay.
last game of last week. Brad, fucking big dick Brad. I told you guys he's gonna come back. He has made a team 149 over Paul's 107. Paul, I'm confused by your team. You are in that sub 110 or you're in that that plus 150 area. Like so far you're going back and forth. So everyone look at your schedule, see which week you got Paul. Because right now Paul's gonna go 7-6.
Very boomer
Very
bust.
good.
He actually got fucked pretty hard by owning the Cardinals defense last week too.
Defenses this year are just all over the place. It's hard to pick one and stick with it, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
I did pick one, and I am sticking with it. And I'm very proud of my six
Yeah,
fab that bought me the Bears.
That
for
was a
season.
good pickup.
That was a great pick.
Thank you.
I didn't think Mac would have as big of an impact as he did, but man,
Me neither.
Dude, I figure $6 to play the hand and like try to see if I can ride the hype train. Best six fab I've ever spent, I think.
I feel like it wasn't talked about enough about the AFC West and what the fuck we went through last year. You had Khalil Mack, you had Joey Bosa, you had Von Miller. One of you, it won't be Parker. Charlie, who did the Chiefs have last year? What was the defensive end's name? Fuck the time I need Mike on here.
What's a defensive end?
God, I
It's
can't
on the
remember
tip
his
of my
name.
tongue.
Mike's like sit. Yeah, Mike's gonna sit there and be like, "Yeah, well, you had literally 4 of the top 10 rushers all in one division, and we had to play each other twice a year. There's a lot of fucking shit. Now Khalil Mack goes to fucking the NFC North and is already taking a shit on everyone. That guy has like a sack in every game, a touchdown, a forced fumble in every game. Like if he keeps this up, he's gonna break every fucking record."
Is that the last? That was the last.
Yep. Brad beat Paul.
Brad
Brad's
beat Paul.
team
You know,
is legit.
oh my god! Did Brad do that with 3 players on bye as well? Yeah, he had Cam Newton, Jamison Crowder, and Alex Smith
to be
all on
fair,
bye.
Well, Goff. Oh fuck,
It's-
Brad.
Maybe
Brad has
And
Goff
Alex Smith.
and Cam Newton now.
that's the only way that Brad actually plays the winning roster and doesn't keep it all on his bench, as if half his team
you
is
guys know
on
we
bye
have 2
for him.
teams that have 3 quarterbacks on their team right now. I believe Gabe
What?
still
Who's
has.
the other one?
Brad has Jared Goff and Alex Smith and Cam Newton.
Alex Smith.
And
I told Brad to drop
and
fucking
Gabe
Alex
has,
Smith. You
I
piece
believe,
of shit.
Fitzpatrick is still on his team. There you go.
Yeah, he's got Fitz, Luck, and Bortles. Why the fuck would you have Bortles?
I love Bortles. Don't talk about the boat. Best of all time.
He just can disappoint so hard randomly when he should have a great game.
So Bortles is like, I love every part about him. They're like, you know what, Bortles? You're good. You're not great. And he's like, all right, just give me a contract. Do you think that's fair? And so he got like $45 million. He's like, fuck it. And I was like, I love that. Like he makes the smart plays. He is going to be the most average player at all. And like in post game interview and things, they're like, do you think you should have went on that for 4th down? He's like, I don't know. I just work here. He walked off, and I was like, I fucking love that. Like the
That's
attitude.
amazing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, 100%. Maybe that's why I like him so much. All right. To keep things rolling, let's go into week 5 pick'ems. I don't really want to talk too much about these teams because I don't give a fuck about anyone but my matchup. So let's just go into Paul versus Miller.
Miller.
Paul. I got Paul. Paul, like I said, he has his good week, off week, good week, off week. We're on a good week now.
Yeah, I'm going to go Miller. Mixon might come back this week from what I've heard. So if Mixon comes back, I think Miller's going to take it.
So Charlie, we still have not talked about what app we both use, and I think we use a different one because sometimes you still get things faster than me. But regardless, Mixon was he was training with the trainers, so actually doing things, but he still wasn't practicing today. So who knows? But I'm going to go with Paul. Paul makes very good decisions, and he lost, so he's going to be motivated more this week.
All
right. Next, Charlie Brad. Charlie, you go last because I have no idea what you're going to choose.
I'm going Brad.
I'm going Brad too, Charlie. Fuck.
I'm going Brad also. Honestly,
That's probably a smart
it's
play.
like half superstition just because it's gone the opposite way of everything that you guys have said for the past like 3 weeks. So I'm going Brad too.
First
I got
off, hold up, wait a minute, let me put some chicken in it. Parker and I made 3 bets and I won all of them. Don't
I'm
forget
just saying
that.
in
That's
regards to
true.
my matchup, I don't want to jinx anything going forward. So
Oh, with your
my
matchup, we keep getting
yeah,
it
every
wrong.
time both of you have picked
Oh,
it,
okay.
so you guys have never split and you both are wrong. 2 weeks ago.
We don't keep a record, actually. I have no idea like
We
who we've
should.
been fucking and like how good we are at this at all. I
Hey
just
Parker, can you make an algorithm to go back and listen to all of our podcasts and tell us who we picked?
no. The algorithm is called have someone else do it.
Miller!
It's very advanced.
All right. So I actually respect that on your reasoning because that's pretty cool. At first, I was going to be upset at you for not picking yourself because I'm that guy who's like, I will pick myself even when I know I'm going to
Well, I
lose.
mean,
Dude,
after last week, and I've got Demarius Thomas is struggling, and Evans is on a bye, so my receivers are.
Charlie, you were literally a foot away from a touchdown, which fuck him. Literally, that would have been the game. And we would be 3-1 right now, atop of the division, beating the Chiefs and the Raiders. I don't know how I feel about Case Keenum. You piece of shit. It's almost Swag Kelly time. Please get it together. Please fucking get it together. I want to enjoy football again, and right now I don't.
Man, I hit a nerve there, didn't I?
just a little bit.
All
right.
All right. Mike versus Dustin. I got Mike.
I got Dustin.
I'm taking Mike as long as Gronk plays.
Wow.
Yeah, he came back in practice again. He was just like mixing, wasn't hitting, but he was in practice at least.
Yeah, reports are the ankle issue is not an actual issue. Mike versus Dustin. That'd be interesting. I was going to try to ice bet the both of you for that one, but I remember last time I bet on Dustin, he really let me down.
Well, I'm only choosing Mike. I don't like his team right now. His running back's garbage, but like everyone pops off one week, and I think Mike's due. So I'm giving it to him this week.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we got Daniel versus Parker. Charlie, who you got?
I'm going with Parker on this one just out of pure heart. This one's kind of a toss-up. They both have been pretty strong through 4 weeks, so I just had to go with my heart. I want Parker to win this one. Rooting for you, buddy.
Thanks,
So
buddy.
I got Daniel.
Wow.
I've said
Fucking
multiple
Homer.
times. I fucking hate Daniel. If it was up to me, Daniel would lose every fucking game. I will. All right. Real quick, since we're fucking here. So Daniel calls me today. This dumb motherfucker is like, I'm so glad my team's good, Dex. You didn't see that coming. First off, Daniel, I wrote about it in every fucking blog that you're the number 1 team in our league. And then he's like, well, I'm glad I'm good this year because last year you said luck has nothing to do with fantasy. It's all skill.
No, Andrew Luck is very good at fantasy. Continue.
Andrew Luck is decent at fantasy. This year's to be seen. But back to this. And Daniel's like, you said luck has nothing to do with it. And we always argued about it. Then he goes on. I remember last year you told me the only reason I made the playoffs was because I was lucky. I was like, Daniel, I dropped my mic. But fuck, Daniel, I didn't even need to argue against you. You argued against yourself. You proved my own point against you. Like that you just said, I said you only made the playoffs because you're lucky. Clearly, luck has to do with it. And I would be pro luck last year because I didn't make the playoffs. Of course, I was like, yeah, everyone got lucky against me. So, unfortunately, I'm choosing Daniel over Parker. I don't like it. I do not agree with it, but that's what I choose.
To your point,
You want
Dex.
an ice bet on that one?
I will ice bet you. Fuck yeah, let's go.
Right.
I ain't scared no ice.
To your point,
To
Charlie?
your point, he was bragging about how he did very little preparation for this at the draft and how he was just going based off the sheets that he had in front of him. So I gotta say,
the sheets that I gave him, I printed them out for him because he was so busy. Fuck you, Daniel.
So that just proves your point that he was even bragging about how he was getting lucky. So.
All right, last Gabe of the matchup. Last game of the week, Dex versus Gabe. All right, we already knew who I'm picking. Let's go, boys.
I don't know. I keep betting against you, and you keep losing.
No. Oh wait, I keep losing.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
I have
you're 1-3,
lost.
buddy.
Give it to me, Parker.
Charlie,
Help
you go
me.
first. You go first,
Damn
Charlie.
you, piece of
All right,
shit.
I'm going with Dex. I am going
You
with
going with
Dex.
Dex? I'm
Come
going
on.
with Dex too. I'm going
Yes,
with Dex too this
that's
week.
what we fucking needed, boys. That's called teamwork. I'm on my knees now, about to drink my last ice of the week. That was your podcast, the 10 Guys One Pod podcast, with the Charlie Yates coming in with hot questions, opening up the Snapchat app. Here's my bet with who did I bet this one from? What's it? Oh, I honestly don't even know who gave me.
You have to
this
say
one.
it, or else it doesn't count towards that.
2 were from Miller.
I'm just kidding.
Who
This
would
is
I
your
bet this
this
with?
is your other Miller one at the very
No,
least.
no, this is the small one. This is you.
Oh, this is mine. Yeah. Oh,
All right.
perfect.
All right, boys. Here's Parker's ice.
That kind of looks like a lime, like a Sprite colored.
Yeah, it's got a kind of
ice.
a margarita looking color.
It was
That's-
Screwdriver.
It was Screwdriver, dude. My man.
All right. That was the podcast. I enjoyed it. Charlie, we
As
appreciate it.
always.
And as always, fuck Daniel.
Fuck Daniel.
As I did in week 3. Fuck Daniel.
Oh.
Yeah, we're out.
Yeah, I like to make money, get turned. I like to